Well, you might know this by now, but emulators have really went through just a lot in not even the last year, like the last 10 or 11 months. Yeah, 2024 was a very big year for emulators, mainly Nintendo emulators. You saw what happened with Yuzu, the Nintendo Switch emulator that was probably the biggest one that got shut down. So that was definitely not good for the emulation community, but they also had some very positive things as well. Mainly that around the time actually that Yuzu was taken down, Apple reversed its iOS ban on emulators from the App Store, and then actually a month later, I even made a video on this, the Delta emulator became not only just extremely popular, but quite literally the most popular app on the iOS App Store. That was insane. So yeah, definitely had its highs and its lows. Now, one thing I did forget to mention, around the time Yuzu was taken down, there was also another huge Nintendo emulator, probably the biggest of its kind, that was taken down. Now, this was not a Switch emulator, but rather a 3DS emulator, and I believe also just a regular DS emulator. Now, this was called Citra. You had probably heard of it. It was the one with like the orange as the logo, or a lemon or something. Now, here's the thing. Yeah, I think that Citra was the biggest DS emulator ever, and so with it getting taken down, that probably made room for a lot of other DS emulators to shine. Now, that leads me to exactly what I am talking about today. Unfortunately, this one actually did just get taken down, but for probably a different reason. It's kind of interesting because it's not really known if Nintendo like directly played a hand in this. So this is the Drastic DS emulator. Now, I believe this is only officially available on the Google Play Store. I don't think it's on like any other official stores like the iOS store. I'm seeing that it looks like you can get it on a few other websites, but yeah, nothing else official. But the thing is, the Google Play Store platforming this emulator, that is now a thing of the past. Because people have noticed that, yes, when you click on the link now to go to its page on the Google Play Store, it is no longer there. Now, I'm not seeing there's like an official post about this right now from its creator, but people were very quick to point out the very likely reason why this has been taken down. It doesn't sound like it's due to just an actual Nintendo takedown notice, but the thing is, about a year ago, the creator of Drastic, named Exophase, they announced that they were actually making the emulator free on the Google Play Store, so I think originally they had charged some money for it, and they said that sometime in the future, sometime after that, they were going to actually make this sort of open source, basically just make the source code of the emulator open to the general public, probably so that people could expand on the project. Now, usually in these cases, this does not mean that there was like an actual cease and desist from Nintendo, but rather that the creator, and in this case Exophase, just wants to move on, probably just doesn't want to develop the project any longer, and therefore wants to allow others to continue on in his place. But I do think that with all of the stuff that happened about a year ago with Nintendo taking a lot of these emulators down, I think that did have something to do with this. Yeah, if you look on that bottom paragraph there, he says, "I was already planning on this a while ago, so it's not simply due to the Nintendo stuff. That just made the whole process more urgent, which I guess is a good thing because I'm terrible at doing things." Yeah, this does make a lot of sense, mainly because we've actually seen very recently that some Nintendo executives, and I even made a video on this recently where I talked about a Nintendo lawyer, talked about the thought process that goes behind which emulators and which projects like these to take down, with a cease and desist, with, you know, legal action. So we're talking anything with emulators, ROMs, fan-made ROMs, anything like that. And at the end of the day, especially that lawyer mainly talked about how this is when creators will lock this content behind a paywall. Nintendo does not like that, so that very much could explain what happened here with Exophase about a year ago. They probably no longer wanted a price tag on this emulator on the Google Play Store, so that is why they made it free. Therefore, it made it very less likely that Nintendo would come after them legally. So now, fast forward a year later, here we are, the emulator has now been taken off of the official Google Play Store. Now, while Exophase, I'm not seeing he has officially ever said that this was the end goal, just to take it off of the Google Play Store, I would imagine that this is probably an indicator that they are very soon going to release that source code. I definitely think this is the right move, especially if Exophase is just planning on moving on. This allows other creators to expand on this project, but mainly with what happened a year ago, I have to applaud Exophase. This was the smart move to change it from a paid app to a free app. Yeah, this was about a year ago, which was around the time the massive purge of these projects happened. So you'd best believe that, yeah, this project by now definitely would have gotten taken down and maybe legal action would have been pursued. So yes, unfortunately, this is the end of yet another Nintendo emulator. And while I can confidently say that this very likely in the long run probably had quite a bit to do with Nintendo, it actually does not seem that this is a case of an actual takedown notice from Nintendo. This one is a bit more complicated. So I will say we mostly have the clear picture here. We know why Exophase made this emulator free a year ago on the Google Play Store, and we can pretty safely assume why this emulator's source code will likely be released soon. The creator probably wants the project to just continue on, but I suppose the only piece of missing information we really don't have is, you know, the main thing here. Why did it actually get taken off of the Google Play Store? Likely just from its creator. Well, there is a theory here on Reddit that I want to highlight. This is actually pretty interesting because I had no idea about this. So their theory is that the Play Store has some weird policies that force you to publish your personal data if you are a developer, and apparently this is the reason why Aether's X2, the PS2 emulator, I believe, got removed as well. And they linked to some Discord screenshots from the Drastic Emulator Discord, and yeah, it does sound like this is what others are speculating as well. Is this actually a thing, by the way, with Google Play? That is kind of weird. I mean, maybe they have their reasons. But yeah, as some are pointing out, it essentially means you kind of have to like dox yourself if you want to keep your apps on the Google Play Store. That's pretty weird, especially if you're just kind of like an anonymous creator. Very odd. But yeah, overall, unfortunately, the official Drastic DS emulator on the Google Play Store has officially been taken down. It doesn't seem like this is directly because of Nintendo, but thankfully when the source code is inevitably released, probably very soon, I would imagine that others will continue on with this project.